Hey, welcome to a quick for me maybe, tricks for the Nyx. This is episode 1, part 1, whatever, why label things. And I'm going to be showing how to patch pulse width modulation on the oscillator 1 of the Dreadbox Nyx. So for some of you folks out there a little less familiar with how pulse width modulation works, basically it's a square wave and the width of the pulse on that square wave is variable. It changes. And when you do it in real time, it adds some really cool harmonic content to the oscillator. And so what I'm going to be doing is plugging in one patch cable and showing you how to use modulator 2 sort of as an LFO to modulate the pulse width. And when it modulates, it looks kind of like this. And is it done? Okay. So part of this might not make sense if you haven't seen my previous Nyx routings video where I explain how the routing stuff works on the Nyx. That's worth watching just to learn a little bit more about the Nyx in general. And you have to set this up so it routes a certain way so this works. And I am drinking an Uriga. It's an alt beer out of, or outside of, or from Düsseldorf, Deutschland, Germany, Deutschland. I don't remember the French word. Is it Allemagne? Something like that. Shit. It's been too long. Anyway, it's a very good beer. I do favor alt beers. I do like them a lot. And we got this at some local German export store here, so it was worth the purchase. Not cheap. Probably 3 times what it would cost in Deutschland. But so it goes. Anyway, so back to the Nyx. Enjoy this. You will now know how to patch a pulse width modulated oscillator and modulated from modulator 2 and make all sorts of cool sounds with it. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, cheers. Okay, hey, this is going to be a quick one, we hope, because I'm not good at quick ones. This is called Tricks for the Nyx, and it's only one trick today, but we're going to show you how to get pulse width modulation on the Dreadbox Nyx. So first, we take this cool little patch cable that I got from Propellerhead Reason Guys at Superbooth last year. We plug it into the Mod 2 output right there. We plug it into the PW, which stands for pulse width, on the input down here in the corner. Go ahead and pull down the level of the second oscillator, because the second oscillator cannot be pulse width modulated. Only this pulse wave or square wave can be modulated. Pulse wave. Make sure the volume's up, volume's down on the second one. And okay, very critical to this is that you have the routing set up so that the modulation is set to single. And what that means is that only modulator 1 will be modulating the filter. That leaves modulator 2 free to change the pulse width. So again, modulator 2 will be affecting the pulse width. And we're going to use modulator 2 basically as an LFO, a low frequency oscillator, to change the pulse width of oscillator number 1. So we've got it set up. Now this little trim thing up here controls the amount of how much this output affects the input. So right now, if I play it, it sounds like just a normal square wave. Let's take down the resonance though. If you saw the Sonic State review, Nick shows that this square wave is kind of spiky. In fact, the square wave and the saw wave are pretty spiky. Adds a little extra higher harmonic to it. But that's the square wave, and we're going to modulate it. So Again, modulator 2 is going to be doing the modulation of the pulse width. So you need to make sure this is set to LFO, right there, LFO. And then we'll show you how these rise and fall controls can help affect the speed. Basically what the LFO is doing is it's looping this modulator. So as it rises and falls, it's making it do it endlessly. Rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. If we didn't have the LFO on, it would rise and fall once and only once. So LFO is on, and let's hear what it sounds like. Now right now, because this little dial is set to 0, we'll turn it up and you'll slowly start to hear the pulse width modulation effect. Hear that? Let's see what it looks like too. Now, based on how much you turn this little dial right here, it can go all the way to 0, the percentage of pulse width modulation, to where you can hear nothing. So let's show you that. But unless you want to use that as some special effect, I like to not do that. So you're saying, hey, that's awesome, that's cool, so how can I control the speed? Well, remember, this is basically, modulator 2 is looping. It's a looping, it's acting as an LFO. So what you can do is actually shape this LFO depending on how fast you do the rise and how fast you do the fall, fast or slow actually. So if I move both of them together, it's basically a triangle wave, up and down. Now it will get faster as I lower both of these. So now it's a very fast LFO because it's very quick rise, very quick fall, and the loop's very quick. Now we can affect how intense that is by, again, changing this control, the little knob up here. And you can hear, as I dial that down, it basically becomes a square wave again. So now, if you keep the rise really fast and the fall really slow, you're kind of changing that triangle wave into more of a saw wave, because this part of it's really fast and this part of it's slower. And you can do it in reverse, where it's a rising saw wave, sort of. Now, while modulator 2 is busy affecting the pulse width, modulator 1 can still be affecting the filter as much as you want. So you'll notice it's a ooh on the filter. Now, I do have the glide on a little bit. Let's bring that down, and let's bring in the saw wave. That kind of fattens it up a little bit more. Partially because they're an octave off, too. The pulse width wave is at 32 feet, and the saw wave is at 16 feet, so let's put them at the same octave, both 16. Okay, so taking a break, just a second. So that's it. That is this trick for the Nyx, and episode 1, version 1, whatever, of tricks for the Nyx. I'll do a couple more here. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hopefully you're enjoying your Dreadbox Nyx, because this thing is cool. Cheers.